And if you're just joining us, this is Weekends on All Things Considered from NPR News. I'm Guy Raz, and it's time now for music. This is a band called Zieti, and it's a band that was torn in half by war and geography, and whose first recordings were actually lost forever. This album, Zieti's debut, was 13 years in the making. It's called Zemeloa. Zieti is made up of 4 musicians, 2 from the U.S. and 2 from Ivory Coast, the West African nation that's still recovering from the civil war that raged off and on for the past decade. The name Zieti refers to that struggle in Ivory Coast.
Zieti is the baton of courage. You have to be courageous in life to accomplish everything you want to do. When you have courage, you can get there.
That's Yeoue Narcisse, the lead singer of Zieti. We reached him on the line in Abidjan. More from him in a moment. Right now, let's turn to the American part of the band. Guitarist Michael Shereikis and drummer Alex Owre were living in Ivory Coast back in the late 1990s, before the violence began. And that's where they met their future bandmates, living in a shantytown.
It's a little quartier, little neighborhood, which is just corrugated, cardboard, random wood, tin, your typical developing world shanty.
The shanty, actually, it's right between the railroad track and the beach. It's like, there's land that just wouldn't be used otherwise, so it gets used. That's Africa for you.
Tell me about your Ivorian bandmates.
Narcisse has been in Abidjan. He lives in a shanty near the airport. Meanwhile, Laurent's story is more dense. It's he comes from a family that was pretty well-to-do in the western part of the country. His father was an important man out there. And so Laurent's coming to the city to live in a shanty and play music was frowned upon by his family, very much so. Alex and I would get in his car and drive out to their shanty and pick them up and grab some instruments, battery-powered amps, and go out and find a little camping site, Le Camping.
Le Camping.
and we would set that stuff up with Alex's drum kit, and then we'd just start playing out there out by the beach.
Was there a particular song that you started to perform with these guys or write with them that made you think that this is the real deal, this was coming together?
The obvious choice is Ziondo. We went out to the western part of the country where they're from and played a show in Giglo. And they loved that song. Everyone danced, like old 90-year-old men and little kids, and they got in a big circle and were dancing around. And when we finished the song, they forced us to play it again a second time.
Forced us to play it again. And then the skies opened up.
And then it rained.
Poured. Yeah.
For those of us who do not speak Owre, can you tell us what the song is about?
It's basically a musician's creed. Our faith in music, and that faith lights the way to God and the eternal.
Yeah, it's acknowledgement that, it's, as he says, creativity, spirituality, knowledge, inspiration, all those are divine. And it's through our faith in music that our path is shined towards the divine.
So you decide, let's cut a record together with these guys. How did you do it?
Oh, it was easy.
No, well, there were many steps here.
Yeah, many steps.
We did a lot of demo recording with an 8-track cassette recorder that my brother brought me, and then right before we left in 1999, we recorded 10 songs in a studio in Abidjan, and that recording was lost. It was not backed up and destroyed.
So you two begin this process in '97. Both of you left Ivory Coast in 1999, but those recordings were lost.
Yes,
within months. What happened to them?
Well, Studio Soft was not apparently as solid as we thought. It was truly soft. After we left the country, I met somebody here in the D.C. area who was building a studio back in Abidjan, an Ivorian man. And we became friends, and I helped him out a little bit. And so then they recorded some tracks in his studio and sent them to me, and we started building them back up here in my studio. So that's been the process. It's been this back and forth across the ocean.
this long transatlantic collaboration came close to never happening. A few years after Michael and Alex returned to the U.S., Ivory Coast's civil war broke out. Narcisse and Laurent went missing. Michael and Alex couldn't reach them. They had no idea if their bandmates were alive or dead. Eventually, they were able to locate Narcisse, and he picks up the story from here.
The two armies were approaching on either side of where I was staying. When they got there, they battled for 3 days. Where I took refuge, there was even more trouble. I was lucky just to get out of there. My friend Laurent, where he was trying to get by, everything was burned down. He had to escape to a village, not even a village, into the bush. He couldn't stay where he had been living.
Again, drummer Alex Owre.
We were worried we would speak with Narcisse in Abidjan, say, well, Laurent, il est là, but he didn't really have any news from him either. So we were hoping for the best, fearing the worst, and luckily it worked out, and we actually just spoke with him today on the phone, so it was great to tell him that we were coming in and talking about the work that he did years ago.
We hadn't spoken to him for 5 years until today. We called him, we finally got a phone number.
Wow.
For Laurent today, and 5 years later we get to hear his voice. He's on his way to Abidjan to rejoin Narcisse.
Was there a point where you almost gave up on the idea of this band, of this record?
The thing is, just always remembering the way they sounded when we were playing, acoustic guitars and literally coconut husks. That sounds corny, it sounds Gilligan's Island, but that's what we started off playing with, acoustic guitars and hitting on the back of coconuts and singing, and it was so beautiful. And that's what has kept this momentum going the whole time, is just remembering that and trying to recapture it in some measure.
Any plans to bring Laurent and Narcisse to the United States and maybe tour with them?
Absolutely.
Love to. I think that road begins with us going back there to do another recording. We're taking one step at a time at this point, got this album out finally, and then we'll certainly be looking towards how we can get them over here. We'd love to.
I think setting them up over there is a great step towards bringing them over here. And so that's part of the plan, is making sure they have a stable situation that they can support themselves through music over there, and then so it's not just an adventure for them to come here, it's something solid and working towards a future.
And as for Narcisse in Ivory Coast, he's been separated from his American bandmates for 13 years, so the release of this record almost seems unreal.
I had confidence in my brothers on the other side, Mike and Alex, but I also had lost a little bit of hope, frankly, because of everything that had happened in my country. I couldn't imagine a day when I would see my music played throughout the world. I thought I had lost something real. And with the courage of my brothers on the other side, God is in control. I'm very, 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 very happy.
Yeoue, Narcisse, Michael Shereikis, and Alex Owre are three members of the band Zieti. The fourth member is Tiende, Laurent. Zieti's debut album is called Zemeloa. You can hear a few tracks at our website, nprmusic.org. Our program is directed today by Kenya Young and produced by Phil Harrell. The staff includes Lauren Silverman, Brent Bachman, Lily Percy, Petra Mayer, Megan Kane, Connor Donovan, and our intern Lauren Beneshu. The technical director is Daniel Shukin. At the operations desk, Tom Woodward. The weekend web producers are Melissa Go, Stephanie Federico, Krishnadev Kulamur, Steve Mullis, and Dana Farrington. Kim Molesky is the reference librarian. Mathoni Maturi is our editor, and our senior producer is Steve Lichtai. And for Saturday, that's Weekends and All Things Considered from NPR News. I'm Guy Raz. Thanks for listening, and have a great night.